Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's been such a long time since I've done a sit down video. I've been getting a lot of comments asking me, how is the sabbatical going? How is your career break, gap year, whatever you call it? How is this long period of time that you took off of work going? And I'm here to update you guys on that and also give advice if you're thinking of taking a sabbatical. So when I decided to quit my job 9 months ago, I got a wide range of different responses. Some people were like, just go for it, right? But a lot of those people didn't have the experience of quitting their jobs. Other people were like, you're making the worst mistake of your life. Regardless of those opinions, I decided to quit my job, and it's been a crazy year with ups and downs, and I'm here to update you guys on that entire process and how it's really been going for me. So I decided to split this video up into the good, the bad, and the ugly of taking a sabbatical. The bad and the ugly are going to be mushed together because they're very related. But let's start first with the good aspects of taking the sabbatical. So the first good that I didn't really even expect to get from taking the sabbatical was the increase in internal pride and confidence. I'm learning this now at my old age. When you do something you're scared to do, you gain confidence points and you gain a lot of self-pride. And that's the one thing I've gained a lot from this sabbatical, is a lot of confidence and increased self-belief. A lot of people stay in jobs that they don't like. Even though I did like my old job, they stay in jobs they don't like or are not serving them or they're not growing in just because they're scared to take a chance. And when you actually take that chance, regardless of how things turn out, you still have this confidence in yourself. Especially if you're a risk-averse person like I am, you have a newfound confidence that, wow, I can take risks and nothing crazy happens. It really helps push your tolerance for risk-taking, which was very profound for me. I was really scared to quit my job. If you see my quit video, I was really scared to quit my job, but I still decided to do it anyway. And just as a result from taking a risk, like quitting their jobs, so doing something that people are scared to do and I was also scared to do, really gave me that internal confidence because I was standing on my business. You know what I mean? I said I was gonna do something and I did it. And that just gave me newfound internal confidence that I'm really excited about. This is probably the most obvious benefit of taking a sabbatical, which is the increase in your time freedom. For me, this is the most time I've ever taken off of anything, right? I was basically on a very structured path from high school all the way to working different jobs that I've had in my career. And this was the first time I've ever diverted from the path to kind of do whatever I want to do. And the result of that was that I have so much freedom in time. So all these tasks that I've always wanted to do, like for example, I've always wanted to learn how to drive. Yeah, I didn't know how to drive. I learned how to drive during this time off and I got my driver's license. I've always wanted to take CS classes. I got to take CS classes. I've always wanted to learn iOS development, and I've learned iOS development. I'm actually launching my own app. Like, you should check it out. Link into the description box. But yeah, like the amount of time freedom you have during your sabbatical is crazy. And I don't know in the future if I'll ever have this amount of time off of doing something very structured. So for that, I'm very lucky and I'm privileged. And I feel like that's one of the biggest benefits of taking this time off, is that you have time to do whatever you want. Tasks that you've been neglecting for years, you can really focus on them. Passion projects that you've always wanted to invest in, you can invest in them. If you have a business idea, you can build a business idea. And that time freedom is something that's very special, and it's something that you really can never get back. But I hope I do get time like this again. Another big benefit I've seen from this sabbatical, which is the reason I took it, was to feel less burnt out. Before taking the sabbatical, I was working like my 9-to-5 tech job alongside with doing content creation. I was doing way too much and it was really pushing me, and I felt like very stressed and burnt out. I needed a break. I needed to take a pause, take a break, and just figure out things, right? And I feel way less burnt out because I've gotten to rest during this time. And I even have a newfound energy that like I did not have before, and I haven't had in a long time. Like I have a new energy to do new things, a new spark to life and new passion, which is like exactly why I took the sabbatical. I got the exact results that I wanted. So those are some of the best aspects of taking the sabbatical. But now let's get to actually some of the hardest parts of the sabbatical. This is going to be the bad and the ugly section of taking the sabbatical that no one tells you about, but it's really critical information that you need to know before you take the sabbatical. And a lot of these things, I didn't think that I would deal with them, but here we are, right? One of the first things that I experienced during my sabbatical was huge amounts of existential dread and feeling lost. This is a feeling I haven't felt in a long time. Maybe the last time I felt lost about what my next steps were was in college when I was trying to decide on a college major. But throughout most of my life, I've always kind of known what the next steps were. But during the sabbatical, I felt the most lost I've ever felt in my life, like existential dread, asking myself questions like, why am I here? What am I doing with my life? What are my next steps? These are the type of questions that are not easy to answer, and I will say I don't have the answer to them, but they're questions you're going to be asking yourself during this sabbatical, and you'll find that you'll go in loops of just, at least for me, I just keep asking yourself the same exact question with no answer for months, and that can cause you to have a horrible experience and just feel a lot of stress and anxiety. And it's crazy that these are questions, at least for me, I didn't really have when I had my 9-to-5 job, right? You realize that your job really does a good job of really telling you what to think, right? When you're working a job, you're not really thinking deeper than like, how do I get the next promotion, or how do I get the next pay increase? You know, if I don't like this specific job, how do I get the next job? But you don't really think deeper about what should I be doing with my life? Like, what's my life purpose? But I feel like when you're on a sabbatical, because you're not working and you're not being told what to think, you start having a lot more intense existential crisis, which is not bad, but it's definitely not easy to go through. It's definitely tough to go through that. Another thing I didn't expect to feel during my sabbatical was feeling behind in my career, right? When you take a career break and you get off of the ladder, around you, people are going to be going up the ladder, right? I have friends who've gotten promotions, peers who have, made important career switches and important career moves in their lives. And I have taken a step off of the ladder to take a break. And obviously you can get into a position where you're comparing yourself and you're saying, wow, like, did I make the biggest mistake by not just continuing my path? Everyone says this, but it's a really important message that's really hard to get into your head, and I feel like I still don't have it totally in my head, is that you cannot compare your path with someone else's path. Everyone is on their own journey. Everyone's gonna have their own life challenges. They're gonna have their own lucky wins. You can only focus on your own path. It's not always easy to really internalize that message when you're feeling like you're behind, but it's an important thing to remember, and that's something I always try to remind myself, that my path is not gonna be like other people's paths. So I should just focus on myself and mind my own business, So that's why I'm not on LinkedIn, and I won't be on LinkedIn until I'm looking for a job. Another thing I didn't expect to deal with during my sabbatical was how destabilizing a lack of structure can be. Like at my last job, most of the time I was working from home because I got the job during the pandemic, but even working from home, that job provided me a lot of structure. I knew, 9 a.m. my first meeting, I could kind of be offline at 6 p.m. But there was a structured time box every single day, and I kind of knew the structure of my day. When you have so much time freedom, you kind of lose that structure, and it's not always the best, right? Like there have been times during my sabbatical where I've spent weeks not really being productive, which is okay. I didn't take the sabbatical to be productive, but I spent a lot of time not being productive, and that kind of sucks because I still want to get things done. So for me, the sabbatical has taught me how to create my own structure and get the things I want to get done. And what's ironic is that even though I'm not working 9 to 5, I find myself still trying to get the work I want to get done in a 9 to 5 time block. So it's so funny that even though I've left the corporate structure, I'm still mimicking the corporate structure in my day-to-day on this sabbatical. Another thing I didn't expect during the sabbatical was the amount of self-doubt I would feel. Because you're dealing with an existential crisis, you're also, seeing other people moving ahead in their careers, you don't have that structure, you start feeling a lot of self-doubt. Like, am I worthy? Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? It's a lot of self-doubt you start feeling, and that's why it's important to have a therapist, or you have a strong support structure, people who are reminding you that you are worthy, basically, and you do have your shit together and you will succeed. And that's it. Those are basically the good, the bad, and the ugly aspects of taking a sabbatical. All in all, I think taking a sabbatical was a great experience for me. I'm glad I did it. The good has definitely outweighed the bad, and the bad has only made me a better person, honestly. I feel like I'm someone now who has way more structure. Even though I was always pretty structured, I feel like I have a lot more internal self-structure I didn't have before. I have a lot more confidence. With these existential crises, they are not resolved, but I know how to still move towards a path that I want. But yeah, I feel like the bad parts have made me stronger. The good parts have been great. So would I recommend you quit your job and take a sabbatical and take a career break? Honestly, yes. Make sure the financial aspect is secured. And if that's secured, I think you should go for it. You'll gain more than you'll lose during this sabbatical. And that's coming from someone who has taken a sabbatical, so you can trust me on this. Okay. Do I regret quitting my job? I don't regret quitting my job. Like I said before, the good has outweighed the bad. It hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine like I expected it to be, but it has been honestly a good experience so far. So I don't regret quitting my job. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But all in all, I would still recommend taking a sabbatical if it's something you really want to do. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.